Welcome to the Ohio RAM Show.
Well, hello everybody, this is Jim Lawyer here, and you're watching the Ohio RAM Show, the show about ultracycling and everything about RAM and cycling in general. This is show 374. Hey Lee.
Hi, Jim, and this is brought to you by the folks who run the time stations here in Ohio. Time stations 41 in Oxford, Ohio, time stations 42 in Blanchester, time station 43 in Chillicothe. We're none other than Jim over here. No, he's over here.
Over here now, yeah. Left or right?
Everything's backwards here. That's where he runs that time station, and we're looking forward. Hey, it's getting close, Jim.
Yes, we've got 37 days till it starts. So
37 days, and
June 15th is when the solos start, and then 19th is when the teams start. And they'll be through Ohio, hopefully around June 22nd through the 25th. So come on out and enjoy it at our time stations. If you
yeah, we get people coming out here that sometimes just drive by and say, what is this all about? And stop in, and next thing you know, they're RAM fans, and we're glad for that. But we also get some people who come here, and there's people there who will tell you about the race and understand the rules and so forth. Hey, by the way, on the website, OHIORAAMShow.com, OHIORAAMShow.com, on the right, you'll see a list of links that are kind of important, and one of them is to the rule book, and I'd like to point that out. Baseball fans know the baseball rules better than the referees, and so forth. So I think you learn a lot about how the race works, but just by reading the rule book there, and that's a good thing.
Definitely, it's a good thing.
Got a lot of stuff on tonight. What's the news, Jim?
Let me get down there to that. The news today. Basically, coming up May 11th, Team Joe Barr is going to go for a world record attempt, the Wild Atlantic Way. And we will be covering that various times throughout the days, starting May 11th. It's going to be a really great time. He's going to do a really great job, but it's quite a bit of a ride for him. And you can find out more information on his Facebook or website, and you can just scan the QR code down there and it'll take you right there. And he just brought up a new charity, which if you want to donate, hit that QR code for us.
Yeah, we had a nice little chat with Joe the other day, didn't we, Jim?
Yes, and we'll have that on during the live stuff that we're going to do. I'm going to go back to the news screen. We want to congratulate Christoph Strasser. He was the winner and set a new track record in RAAM. And I'm not going to try to pronounce that German word, but RAAM it is. And the other important thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later is the RAAM starting point has finally been announced as official now. So that's good news. And
it's going to be where?
I don't know. Where is it going to be?
Oceanside, California. Woohoo!
Yes.
We are glad for that. California gave us a permit, or should I say, gave RAAM a permit.
Definitely.
And so they're not starting in Las Vegas, and we're so excited that could come off. That's great. That's great. Hey, let's get to. We got an awful lot to cover here. Let's get to some birthdays this week, and there was a whole batch of them. Heather Lawhorn, that's Joe Lawhorn's wife over here in Chillicothe.
Great rider on her own. She's awesome.
Great, yes, that's true. Joan Deitzman, who is been on RAAM a few times, and we're glad to always see her around. Yasa George over there in Sri Lanka, and he runs the Ride the Pearl race. The ride across Sri Lanka, and I think if there's any race I'd like to do, that would be it, Jim.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and Amit Samarth. Now you remember Amit was the person who helped give us so much excitement a few years ago as to who would be the first Indian soloist to finish RAAM, and he and Srini Gokulnath. They switched places how many times during the last couple hundred miles?
I lost count. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. So he turned in quite a show. Alan Bradley there in Australia. Hi, Al. Good to have you around always. Bharat Spanu also in India. And Craig Cashel there in Oxford. She's been a consistent time station worker at Time Station 41. And Corinne Furr. I had her and her father on the show a few years ago. They had a father and daughter two-person team in RAAM. Benny has ridden RAAM solo. I don't think he finished, but they did finish as a two-person team. Benny only had one arm, and that was a unique thing about that. Dave Ellsbury, I've had him on the show. I don't know how many times he did RAAM. I think I know how old he is, but I'm not going to say. But happy birthday to all those people.
Definitely.
So,
and we want to wish all the mothers out there very happy.
Oh yeah, happy Mother's Day to all of you who are mothers, and those of us here in Ohio have been around a while, lamenting the fact that we didn't get to ride in this terrible weather today on the tour of the Scioto River Valley, which brings me to our next visitor, my son Mark in Arvada, Colorado. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Jim. Yeah, I don't know how many times I did tosser, but you probably did it way more than I did, Dad. So
I know it's over 25. So any rate,
mine's probably at least half of that. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm Mark Kreider. I get a little spot here today. My wife and I, Sherry, are going to be riding across America this year. So. And we're going from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine.
Wow.
So we're starting actually, the first part of our ride, we're going to be using the Lewis Clark Trail route that Dad actually used in 1996 for his crossing. So we'll start there, and we kind of wander around seeing some national parks and national monuments, but we'll stay sort of north as we go across. So. And we have a tandem, so we'll be riding our tandem across, and we're going to take camping equipment, and we'll be self-supported, and we'll stay in hotels sometimes here and there, and camp when we can. So we're real excited about it, and we've got a blog we'll share with you guys. We'll try to get that, keep it up to date as we go across, and maybe we can have an appearance once in a while here and let you know what's going on. So
that would be awesome. That would be great.
Yeah, maybe recorded, maybe live, however it's going to work. Now, Jim, we're so excited about that. I feel some degree of pride that I am the start of 3 generations of ultra people. Now I'm down to my grandson, who will be doing the Unbound Gravel race. And
awesome.
So I think we may get another Kreider on here to make this kind of a family affair. So, Mark, hang around for the drawing. If you've got a phone or something, you can put in a text. Maybe you might even win. We allow family members to win. So that's it. So let's say a word.
Kit Hinders lives within 20 miles of you, Mark. So shout out to Kit.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
Kit Hinders, by the way.
Yes.
And let's say a word about the drawing, Jim. So tell people. Well, I'll tell them what the prize is tonight. It is a copy of, so it doesn't reflect, Mag Hakkonen's book South Away, of her tour from northern British Columbia to the Baja. She did it as a complete novice, not knowing anything about touring. Great book. She's a great writer. It's a great read. She'll send you a autographed copy tonight if you win the prize. So how do we win a prize, Jim?
Basically, you just have to get on there and comment or send a question in, and it's automatically entering you in the drawing we'll have at the end of the show. So if you don't want to say a question or comment, just say hi, say where you're from, and that'll get you in the entries. So do that real quick and have a chance for that wonderful book.
Yeah, so, and even if your comment is, you guys stink, it'll still count, won't it?
There you go. It'll count.
Still count. So not that we're encouraging that. So Kit's in the contest,
Yes, Kit's in.
and unless somebody else comments, he'll be the winner, won't he?
That's correct.
Hey, let's get on to our. We've got so much going on here tonight. Let's get on to our live guest.
Yes. Mark, you're
Jim.
not live, so sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get on to our live guest, and you talked to him because I did the interview of Vic, so
Okay.
I'm going to let you do this one.
Oh, great. Hey, Brett, how are you today?
Hey, Jim. Hey, Lee. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, and I guess happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there listening. And if anyone's listening who hasn't called their mom yet, definitely get on. Leave your comment, get in for the book, and then call your mom like right away. There's not too many hours left in the day.
There
Yeah,
you
come
go.
on, let's get some comments here. We got.
Definitely.
We don't want Kit to just hog it here.
Hog it there. No, that would be great. So, what are you doing coming up that's bicycle related, Brett?
Oh, there's this small thing. What is it? Oh, that's right. The Race Across America, right?
Definitely, yes.
Kicks off June 15.
And you're doing it solo, correct?
Sorry, what was that?
You're doing it solo?
I am, yes. So I'm riding solo, and I've got our crew is 8. So I've got a crew of 8 fantastic friends who have, for some reason, gone temporarily insane and are willing to give up 2 weeks of their life to come out and travel the country at about 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Definitely. So have you been doing a lot of training over the
Yeah.
past year or whatever?
Yeah, so I'm a total novice when it comes to something at the level of RAAM. I've done a couple of 400 and 500 mile rides and races before, but this is a first for me. And so it's been reading books, talking to people, and I'm in Chicago, so it's a lot of time on the indoor trainer. I actually have it set up in front of the computer. I use it as my excuse now to play video games. Well, I'm training, so it's okay. This isn't wasted time.
Definitely.
And then just now that we've started to have spring here, I've been lucky enough to get back out on the road and do a couple of centuries just outside and enjoy the weather.
Awesome. And you're riding with Team Red, White, and Blue, is that correct?
I am, yes. So in the past, so I've been a staff member with Team RWB for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years. In the past, I think we've even had some teams like on RAAM,
Yes.
possibly 4 and 8 person teams. This is going to be a little bit different. This is my personal undertaking, but this is a fundraiser for Team RWB.
Excellent.
So the Team RWB is our charity. We set a pretty audacious goal. We're going for $100,000 this year.
Awesome.
We've got a dedicated website just for the effort, so we'll be able to communicate with people and keep them updated on when we're coming through town all the way
Excellent.
through the effort.
And that'll be in the show notes, correctly?
Right.
Yes.
I think it's there now,
Gotcha.
but we'll double check to make sure we got it right.
Definitely. Brett, have you had any surprises or anything trying to grasp this tremendous task of solo race across America?
Yeah, so I would say the single, it was not necessarily a surprise, but the most eye-opening thing for me is RAAM has always been something I have read about, followed, read some books, of course, like Christoph's, Strasser's book, for example. But this past, when was it? March, I think, we went down for the Texas Longhorn 500. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I DNF'd that race. And that was, like, in hindsight, talking to my crew, that was exactly, like, it's weird to say, but the DNF that we needed, right? It taught us a ton of lessons learned. Mm-hmm. Come from a military background, you hear all the time, you learn more from your failures than your successes.
Definitely.
But that was our first exposure to meeting actual people, not, professionals, from Austria whose books I've read,
Right.
But people here in the States who are doing RAAM. And they had their gear there. They had, the Sprinter van, and they were the kindest folk. They took my friends and I in and just let us basically tour around their van and talk to them for 45 minutes. And we just soaked up all the knowledge they had.
That's
and
awesome.
that was fantastic. I learned more in those 45 minutes than probably the 2 years prior.
Yep, and that's the good thing about the ultracycle community and RAAM. Definitely, everybody will help everybody. Even though you're their competitor, you guys just come together and help everybody, so it's awesome. What's your general feeling about the COVID part, and how are you guys handling that?
So we're fortunate enough that I think by the time we get to June, all of our crew will be vaccinated. I think
Awesome.
right now one is still waiting on scheduling the shot and getting that in around work, and so they're working on that. I'm thrilled that like this opportunity exists. I think that that Fred and the RAM HQ team have. I don't know for a fact, but I'm guessing they've jumped through hundreds of hurdles trying to make this happen for all of us. It was a real bummer when RAM didn't happen in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fantastic we're able to get out and do this. And actually, I mentioned my 8 crew members, my friends, kind of being temporarily insane, willing to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But really what we've been experiencing is, you call a friend, you say like, hey, I've got this crazy thing to ask. And they've just spent the last year and a half not going anywhere, doing anything. And all of a sudden this 2 weeks sounds like a good idea because at least they're getting out of the house.
Definitely.
So this might be the 1 year it's easier to get people to
Be sure and tell them this is not a vacation.
Yes.
Have you been training with the team or with your crew and working on that kind of stuff?
So the trip down to Texas included about half of my crew, and that
Okay.
included the crew chief. And so that was their first exposure to like working as a crew on one of these rides.
Right.
Unfortunately, for the rest of the crew, it's Zoom meetings, it's a Google Drive with lots of documents like the rule book and the gear
Yep.
book I heard you referring to earlier. And like this is just the nature of things. And this is one of the things I love about RAM. It's for professionals and amateurs,
Yes.
right? We're all working full-time jobs. Most of my crew is not going to get into Oceanside until the 13th.
Wow.
And then we're going to have like that night and the 14th to do all the mandatory stuff. And the RAM team has alluded to this in some of the seminars they've given. Those first 1 to 3 days are when the crew really comes together and smooths out those rough edges.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to rely on. I'm an amateur cyclist. I've been spending tons of time I've made friends with pretty much everyone at the local Trek shop here in Chicago.
Yep.
They've helped me out a lot. And at least half of the friends on my crew aren't even cyclists beyond the I have a bike and I use it to ride around town level.
Wow.
So this is their first exposure. So we are
That's awesome.
we are hands down the underdogs. We're here for cutting our teeth on this and seeing how far we can get.
That's great. Lee, you have any questions for Brett?
No, it sounds good, and we wish you well. We'll be here in Ohio waiting for you, Brett, and trying to give you a warm welcome.
Definitely. We'll be ringing the bells as you come through.
Thank you so much, Lee and Jim. If I'm in Ohio, I'm hearing those bells. That's
Okay.
practically home. All I got
There
is
you go.
Okay.
to worry about down the way.
We need some comments here besides Kit.
I know.
This last time we were just flooded with them. Can't believe this has got old hat already. But anyhow, well, there's Red Pearl, Sandy.
Pearl.
glad to have you here. Sandy loves Megan. I think maybe she would like to have a copy of that book. Anyhow, Jim did not want to go live. He was too afraid he might say something wrong as the media director,
Yes.
He's a real chicken. So Jim, I recorded him yesterday afternoon while Jim was out riding his bike. So let's roll that one, Jim.
All right, let's see if this will work.
Here with Vic Armijo, who is the media director of the Race Across America. I guess that's your title, Vic?
Yeah, I've been the media director for the past few years.
And you're out there in, Virgin, Utah? Is that correct?
Virgin, Utah. I'm about 15 miles from Zion National Park, where I also work as a park ranger, and my wife is the greenhouse manager for the native plant program there.
So we want to talk about the Race Across America. There's been a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, and people worrying and concerned and what have you. And I saw the announcements, but I'll let you make it that what is happening, we now know is going to happen.
Yeah, we'll be starting as tradition has had it for the past, how long we've been starting in Oceanside. It's a long time. It's
Quite a while.
probably close to 2 decades. But that's where we're going to be starting from. Things fell into place. We've had approval from the city of Oceanside and the counties along the way to the Arizona border for a while, but subject to California also approving, and that didn't happen until just a couple of days ago. We had a backup plan. Fred and Rick have been kind of doing double duty, getting everything in place because they were also making arrangements to start in Las Vegas if California wasn't going to come through. Well, Las Vegas would have had an appeal in some ways. It just wouldn't be coast to coast. It wouldn't be our tradition of starting at the ocean in Oceanside. And it would have been kind of tough too, in that at Oceanside you at least have that transition period. It's up to heat by Lake Henshaw, 50 miles in. Where in Vegas we'd be sitting in the start line already, pretty darn hot.
Right in the desert, right off the bat, yeah.
Right. It would have only been 40 fewer miles than the traditional route, so it was workable, but ideally we wanted to continue in California, and thankfully we've been able to do that.
The other thing that has been on everybody's mind and keeps coming up here on the show all the time is our international riders. Are we going to see anyone? How many are going to make it? I was just looking over the list that's still on the roster before we went on air. What's happening there?
Well, there's various ways of getting into the U.S. from other countries. Some countries are completely shut down, while others aren't. I mean, we won't be seeing any of our riders from India, but we'll see how that works out. When the announcement was made, Rick Bothling put out a second email to everybody to let us know for sure that you're racing, or if you wanted to roll your entry over. And we watched that roster dwindle by quite a bit after that happened. And I think at this point, if they're on the roster, they're planning on coming.
If they're on the roster now, they are planning.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean they'll make it, but they're planning on it.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing restrictions loosened for a lot of the European countries, day by day. So there was an article I saw about May 17th there being a big change. So we'll see how that plays out.
One person had figured out that the entry restrictions were different for getting here than once you were here, depending on where you flew into.
Right. It kind of depends on where you go through customs.
Yeah, and they were booking. They weren't booking direct flights. Now, don't ask me, but they were booking a flight to the United States on one destination, and then once here, a domestic flight they could get there.
And even if you were to have to do a quarantine period, I mean, most of the riders and many of the solos and many of the teams, they go spend 10 days or so in Borrego Springs anyway, getting acclimated to the heat. So it wouldn't really change the plan for a lot of people.
The problem for Canadians is going back.
Yeah.
I had Megan Hakkinen. I recorded her earlier. She'll be recorded here a little bit later in the show because she's given us a book. But she said that you have to stay 3 days in an approved hotel on the return, and that can cost up to $1,000. And then there's a 2-week quarantine. Well, Leah's team is all American, U.S. So she only needs to deal with this for herself. So that's how she's handling it. Dorita Vaccaroni, she has a green card.
Mm-hmm.
She can get back.
Yeah.
She's in Italy. I think she's doing the race across Italy now, Vic.
And I'm not sure what Valerio Zamboni has planned, but he asked me if I could research if anybody holding a Syrian passport had ever done the race across America.
There must. Yeah, Well, if anybody can get here, Valerio can.
Yeah. He'll come in at a
Well,
private helicopter and land on the pier.
and the big question in my mind, thinking of the women's race, will Nicole Rice make it? She's on the roster.
She's on the roster. We have a member of our media crew this year who's going to be working remotely who has reached out to her asking to do an interview, and she begged off to not do that until she arrives in the United States, which she says is going to happen on June 9.
So the women's list is pretty thin. Well, the men's list for RAAM Solo is as well. I really didn't scan the teams. I suppose we've got quite a few international teams I know that dropped out. But
yeah, as it stands now, hang on just a second. Let me pull up the teams. Of the teams, we've got a Brazilian team that's still on the roster, a German team, and a Swiss team. But all the other teams out of the 19 teams are U.S. based.
Yeah, I had the Iceland team all lined up to be on the show, and I was excited because we'd never had anybody from Iceland before, and they said, "What? Let's wait till next year." So we got them lined up for next year.
I'd like to go do the race across Iceland. You got 2 stages maybe.
Well, back to the solos.
Yeah.
I certainly hope Nicole can make it.
I do too. I mean,
she presents an interesting opportunity, doesn't she?
She does. I mean, she actually has the proven speed to be the overall winner when you're looking at the roster and the riders who have a past RAAM to compare to. I mean, the only one that has a faster finish in this year's field is Mark Pattinson. And as he pointed out in the interview I did with him a while back, that was 7 years ago, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, and that was kind of my disappointment in last year's being canceled, because I thought she might have a real opportunity to be overall then as well. But that would be great. It would be unfortunate if it happened under these circumstances, where a number of the competitors couldn't make it.
For the women now, she is a bit ahead of everybody else that's currently racing. I mean, a 9-day finish for a woman, that hasn't happened in a long time.
Tell me about your media teams.
Well, a media team in place that I'm working to get through the through the budgeting approval. What my plan right now is that myself and videographer Kurt Schellenberger, he's a drone maestro. He and I and a driver who's one of my fellow park rangers at Zion will depart with the teams on the 15th. Media 2, which would be Jennifer Magnuson, who's been with us for a while,
Right.
And videographer Michael Ratcliffe. They'll also depart with the solos just as far as Borrego Springs to do some backup and get some more photos in the can, and then they'll stay in Oceanside to cover the team start. Of course, we'll be live streaming the solo start and the team start as we have the past several years. And then they'll go out with the teams, stay with them. When they get to Durango, that's where Media 3 will be. Tara Roberts, has been with us for a while. And Carolyn Easton. I'm sorry if I get her last name wrong. She did RAW a while back, and she lives in Durango, so she'll be giving support to Tara as RAW and RAAM comes to Durango, and they'll be backtracking a bit, probably as far as Monument Valley, and then when Media 2 catches up, they'll pick up Tara and leave Carolyn behind, and then the three of them, Michael Ratcliffe, Jennifer Magnuson, and Tara Roberts, will continue eastward and cover the teams as they come through them and any of the back marker solos. Media One, of course, will be covering the solos, and it'll be little easier year for us than it's been in recent years. The problem we always have, the challenge we always have when Christoph Strasser is racing, is that big gap between him and everybody else.
Yeah.
Generally what we do is we'll stay within striking distance of Strasser until about Durango, and then we'll hang back for a few days, because if we stick with him, second, third, fourth, they're too far back. We can't really get back and forth in a day. And then we would always plan on catching up to him about the time he crosses the Ohio River. And there's been a couple of years where we didn't quite make the rendezvous. It's tough when you're chasing a moving target like that. So this year we'll be able to stay within striking range of far more riders. We probably will be able to be in reach of 5-8 riders from the front, where we haven't been able to do that since, oh my goodness, that would have been when last time was when Pierre Bischoff won, which is 5 years ago already, 6 years ago already.
Vic, we'll put this in our show notes, a link in our show notes, and we'll also add it on the permanent links on the right-hand side of our OHIORAAMShow.com webpage. But where is the best place we can follow what you are doing in RAM Media?
If you haven't already, sign up to be a follower of the RAM Facebook page. That's where you'll get the most recent things. It's easiest on the road for us to post to Facebook. The RAM Media website, you really have to be like in a hotel or something to be able to get a strong enough signal to post to that. Whereas Facebook just responds a lot better, and we're able to do that from the road as we're moving. I mean, a lot of times I'll post a photo and a paragraph what I just saw 10 minutes ago, where you really can't do that on the website. But rammedia.com is where you'll see the links to everything that's going on, the videos, the photos that we and the stories that I write and that Jennifer Magnuson writes, and that our stay-at-home editor Patrick Brady and our other stay-at-home editor Kate Strong will be putting up. And another aspect too that we didn't touch on is that we'll be live streaming all of the finishes from Oceanside again. We've done that for the last few years, and we have a woman there who works with our media crew, Kathy Overton, and she sets up a pretty sophisticated system for us. We play the national anthem for their home country, and that always brings out some emotions.
Well, we're waiting for you here in Ohio, Vic, with a warm welcome, as we always try to do. It just warmed my heart to see behind you there one of our road signs that I hope you paid for it and didn't swipe it. But,
yes, I did. Good.
Good. Well, I shouldn't have put you on the spot, but we're going to have Mike Minium, who does that, on the show here in a couple of weeks. And just while we're saying it, that's a labor of love. He does it out of his own pocket. And when Rick paid the $10 for that sign, he helped put 2 on the road, and I know they're appreciated. So,
to the fans at home who don't know, these signs are a godsend. The area around through Ohio with all these rights, lefts, through the cornfields, it is just so hard to navigate. And to have these doing the navigation for you really takes the heat off of the navigator, that's for sure.
Mike loves to do that, and he has some help, not a lot, but he loses about a third of those signs. There's about 200 of them, and he loses about a third of them every year. So those souvenirs that you pick up along the way, they'll be at each time station in Ohio. people want to know if we can ship them, but we can't, Vic. They're just too difficult
Yeah,
to ship.
the freight would cost more than the sign.
Yeah, the freight would be enormous to make something that would not break them. Vic, thank you for being with us. We hope to spot you out here. One of us will. We appreciate what you guys do. Be watching for you, and look on the OHIORAAMShow.com website for a link to that site. Thank you.
All right.
And there you have you've learned everything there is to know about what's happening in RAM 2021 from
Vic
he did Vic, he did pay, yes, Vic. Very good. Oh,
You cut out, Lee. You're back.
yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but I have a suspicion. We'll try to fix that. Yeah, we can't say too much about Vic because he's listening.
You want to go ahead?
Jim,
and,
are we ready?
Mark
Are we
back
ready
here?
to do the? He's back here, and
Yep.
glad to see him back with us, Mark.
Yep, and Brett and Mark were doing a little communicating via the comments back and forth on some questions. So that was really nice.
I thought about answering him. I thought I didn't want to go in the hopper though, Jim, as one of the contestants, and
There you go.
there's still room if there's anybody here
Definitely.
that would like to get in on it, because we're going to talk to Meg now, aren't we?
I believe so.
So our person who donated the book today is Meg Hakkinen, and I also interviewed her yesterday morning. She got up before dawn to do this.
Gotcha. You
And
want to click?
thank you, Megan, for getting up so early this morning to be with us.
Thanks for having me, Lee.
Well, it's great, and thank you for the donation of the copy of your book, South Away. Is that the title of it?
That's right, South Away, the Pacific
Which we're
Coast
going
on
to give
Two
away
Wheels.
here in just a few minutes after we finish this recording. Tell us a little bit about what is South Away.
Yeah, so here's the book, South Away, the Pacific Coast on Two Wheels. It's kind of an adventure story. The first ever bike trip I took with my sister, and we ventured from northern British Columbia down the Pacific Coast to almost the tip of the Baja Peninsula. It's our first bike trip, so we have no idea what we're doing. We make a lot of bloopers along the way, but we also meet many, many kind folks along the coast in Washington, Oregon, and California, and learn a bit about ourselves. And yeah, it's not a story that you're going to glean any ultra cycling tips from, but if you're interested in what it's like to set out on a bike and kind of discover something new, it's a story of adventure. There's two female protagonists, and I think even if you're an accomplished cyclist, it's a rewarding tale, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, Meg is a great writer, and she tells a great story, and I like stories where you're learning, because that helps us learn. And this is a great gift. Thank you for the donation, and someone's going to win it here shortly. You're moving into some writing projects and audiobooks, are you?
Yeah, that's right. So at the moment, I'm working on recording the audiobook version of South Away, and it's really exciting to get to tell the story in my own words and release that into the world. So stay tuned for that in the not so distant future.
Great. And you've done some readings on YouTube, which I've enjoyed. You're a great reader.
Thank you, Lee.
Also, we thank you for, you've been on the show a number of times. You've done reports. You've done, made quite a hit at the World Time Trials a couple years in a row, winning it one year, I believe.
Gosh, that feels like a long, long time ago on another
It wasn't that
planet.
long ago. And we're just delighted to have you a part of the Ohio RAM family. Can we include you in this group?
I'd love to be included in this group. It's a great group.
Okay, we got to get on with this giveaway, Megan.
Mhm.
So thank you for getting up and being with us. Sorry you couldn't be here live, But Jim is going to start the giveaway here in just a few moments. Thanks a lot, Megan.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Vic, if Vic's still out there listening, she might make a good person for your media team at some point.
Definitely.
Yeah, she's a great writer and great communicator.
Yep.
Okay,
one Red Pearl was asking how much the signs actually cost. Do you remember, Lee?
Yep, $10.
$10.
$10 gets you a sign, and that helps Mike put 2 signs out on the road. As I said, he loses about 50 or 60 of those things every year, and I don't remember exactly what they cost, but the sign and the framework to put them on, I think he can get 2 out of a $10 donation, so it pays for 1 sign plus the other 2. So they're deeply appreciated.
Definitely. All righty. I guess now is the drum roll time. I don't have a drum roll recording, so I need to get that, don't I, Lee?
Yeah, let's get a drum roll. We got to do something here different.
Definitely. All right. What we're drawing for here shortly is, again, South Away. And if you want to find out more information, or if you're not the lucky winner, you can use this QR code here to find out information and order one. So do that, and it'll help Meg and help everybody. So.
And the links on the website, show notes
Yes,
as well.
Definitely, yes. All right. Let me get back to where we can see this. And why won't it switch to... There we go. All right. Definitely. Here we go. We're going to draw. Red Pearl.
Red Pearl, Sandy Errol, out there in Northern California. I mean, the real Northern California, not
Congratulations.
yeah,
Yes.
good. She, I know she was interested. So, Sandy, Megan will be getting that book off to you real soon. So, we got to get out of here. We've been here too long, Jim.
Definitely. And we want
Thanks,
to thank
everyone.
everybody. Yes. Well, Brett, you did a
Yeah,
great
thanks
job, and
everybody
we look
for
forward-
being here.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing
Don't
you
go
for a
away,
while.
everyone. Yeah,
Yes,
don't
and
go
thanks,
one.
Mark.
Don't go away. We'll want to talk to you a little bit, do a little bit of debriefing afterwards. Thanks again, Vic. Thanks, Meg, for the donation. We appreciate that a great deal. You'll enjoy that book, Sandy.
Yes.
So, bye-bye,
And
everybody.
again, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Bye, all.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.